belly fat. Really common weight gain in perimenopause and menopause. There's no one answer to it or why it happens, and is it inevitable? Sort of, I think it is. You know, if you're in your 40s or 50s and you've got fat, gained weight, then actually it's not really your fault. There are lots of factors around it. So as our hormones start to change, particularly estrogen, progesterone, we have lots of sort of symptoms that occur. Things like insomnia, you feel anxious, you maybe lose confidence, maybe get hot flushes, night sweats, and also there's an effect on other hormones like melatonin, like insulin, and also stress levels, cortisol increases. So all of these things like raised cortisol, insulin, they don't work as well as they should do, and so you get something called insulin resistance. And it's insulin resistance really that causes this belly fat. And so as your insulin's not working so well, because what that hormone tends to do is it kind of unlocks the cells so that when you eat food, it goes into the cells and turns efficiently into energy. And when it can't do that, then the circulating blood sugar is picked up by another hormone called glucagon and converted into fat. And also when you're stressed because maybe you're not sleeping so well, maybe you've got brain fog, you've got hot flushes, you've got night sweats, or just because of life, juggling, looking after children, parents, work, it's all about sort of that balance is off, then actually cortisol, whilst it's not, an evil hormone, when it's raised for too long, will also cause you to store and accumulate belly fat, so fat around the middle. So it's a combination of insulin not working well, cortisol levels being high, then the indirect effects of perimenopause, meaning not sleeping, so you're feeling more hungry, more carb cravings, more sugar cravings, maybe sort of feeling tired a lot, so maybe you're not as active or moving as much. We know that about sort of the midlife women are the most sedentary women. We also know that women in midlife, about 65 to 70% of women are overweight or obese. So we know that there's something going on, and this is the metabolic disturbances of menopause. And with that, you may find that your cholesterol levels go up. You may find that you've got blood pressure issues. You may find that you're at a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So there are lots of associations with the metabolic disorder of menopause, and belly fat is something that really, really sort of hits home to women. And I hear women telling me, they look in the mirror, they don't recognise their bodies, they're trying to lose weight, and what they're doing is they're exercising, they're cutting out carbs, they're going keto, so they're doing all of these things, and yet it's not working, not like it used to work before. So what I would say is, first of all, stop blaming yourself and understand there are lots of factors here at play. It's time to go and get some help and support, and also look at what you're doing. It's time that we sort of thought about changing the way that we eat, how much we drink, sort of prioritising sleep, but also stress management, because I think we've underplayed stress and the impact that it has. Because when we are younger, our bodies are much more adaptable. What we can do is, we can respond a little bit better to stressful situations. If one night you've had a little bit less sleep, you tend to be not so knackered the next day when you're in your 20s and your 30s. But once you get into your 40s, it's almost like a narrower path that you walk down. And so what can you do about this belly fat? What would be something that you can help yourself? Or one of the things you may find is fasting. And a simple thing I would say, rather than going whole hog, doing 12 hours on, 12 hours off, is first of all, let's start easy. Let's just talk about the fact of not snacking. When you don't snack, what you're doing is you're allowing your insulin levels to drop. When you drop your insulin levels, that helps your body to turn into fat burning mode. If you are then able to maybe do what we call time restricted eating or intermittent fasting, maybe just start off simple, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, which means that you have 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of your eating window. And then gradually maybe try and increase it to 14 hours of fasting and 10 hours of an eating window. I normally say let's just stick to that, because if you start to feel stressed, then you're counterbalancing the positive effects of fasting. Dexter's here now. Do you think he wants to help me in my cooking? Oh, Dexter, no. Okay, he's had a treat. And then another simple thing that you can do is make sure that you have salads, and when you are having your salads, use a sort of vinegar. Not balsamic, even though I'm using balsamic today, but more like white wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar. This will also help with your balancing your blood sugar levels. And going to see your doctor, thinking about HRT, balancing your hormones will help to give you back your energy, help you with a bit more sleep. Also thinking about nowadays that we have testosterone as well as estrogen and progesterone as part of your HRT. And thinking about the weight loss injections. We know things like Mounjaro really help to improve those hormones, GLP-1 and GIP in the gut, which helps to make you feel fuller longer, slows down gastric emptying, again helping you to feel fuller longer. But the key thing about them is helping with insulin resistance. So improving that insulin sensitivity will help with that metabolic disorder of menopause, help shift that belly fat and get you back to feeling fit and healthy. So if you've got any questions around it, then just do comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.